seems rather straightforward, right? Just giving the number on the meter, but it can be complex for people who are only doing this once a year. So what's the traditional way of doing this? If we, for example, use a chatbot, we have traditionally a flow-based process. So this is just a static sequence going from node A to B to C, or maybe branching to D, and then eventually reaching a point where everything is done, and hopefully the customer is still happy. And in our example, we would first ask for the account number, then maybe for the meter time, is it a meter that has one value, is it a meter that has two values, then we have to capture the data differently, and so on. So this is a rather rigid and static experience, right? The customer just has to hop along, and for every branch, every variation in the conversation we want to support, we have to build extra branches, extra sequences. On the other hand, this is very easy to test and monitor, right? Because you are just, for testing, you can just go through all the nodes, you just try every dialog path that is possible, tree traversing, it's called by the experts. And for tracking, it's similar. You just track the progress. So maybe, for example, in node A, you are asking for the contract number, and maybe only 80% of your customers have it readily available or are able to easily look it up. So you lose 20% of the people who started the process. And then in B, you already only have 80%, and then maybe people get confused with a meter because it's a double value meter, they don't know what to do and what to answer, and then you lose more customers. And in the end, hopefully some of them at least reach the end, but you don't have any flexibility here. People have to adhere to the process. Okay, let's look at the new guy, right? The one that is new in town, everybody's talking about now, the guy that does improv, which in theater language is improvisation, because he is not following a sequence, he is not following a scripted play. This is a free-flowing conversation with the customer, it's a kind of co-production. The agent is reacting to the human dynamically, and the human, of course, is trying his best or her best to come to the solution and get everything done. And even from the diagram, you can see this is very different, right? You might have, or you will have some instructions. You will have a goal or more than multiple goals for the agent. You will have something like a knowledge base or questions that are asked through the process. And you will have tools. The agent is able to get the meter, to find out more about the meter once there is an identification data, there's identification data, and eventually the bot will want to save the meter reading. And then at the end we have some deterministic part where we say goodbye and hopefully everything's fine. Okay, but how to monitor and test this, right? This is completely different from what we've done before. This is not sequential and deterministic in the way we worked until now. And we have developed very clever ways of testing in the last 10 years. But mostly they are obsolete now. But what can go wrong, right? We have our vendors guaranteed us this is agentic AI, it's great, it's flexible, it's intelligent, right? So, yeah, well, maybe it can go wrong. I somewhat have to contradict my colleague that spoke before me, because ask a sociologist, language is action. This was only a bot talking about the service of Cursor, an AI coding company, of all companies, an AI company, and he did a lot of physically of harm that you can feel physically, because users are very frustrated, and a lot of them will at least have temporarily ended their subscriptions there. And the bot was totally wrong. There was an error, and he sort of sold it as a company policy. So what I think we need is a fundamental mind shift here, and this is especially important for companies that are not used to this new way of AI, because capabilities now become easy, right? We can do I can do in 2 hours a demo that will blow you away, but you shouldn't take this into production. The thing that now gets hard is reliability, and we have to shift our focus. We have to put more resources into reliability. We have to learn new methods and new ways of thinking. And that's why we need to step up our testing and monitoring. So I urge you, if you invest in the shiny new technology, also invest into machine learning operations, sorry, too much language in my profession, and Gen AI tooling. Really step up this game, you will need it. Don't trust in the promises of the vendors or in the shiny demos, right? And I could end here because that is my main message for you, to think about that and be careful. But let me give you one concrete example of something we did at our company, because we are preparing for more flexible bots than we had before. And if you have agentic AI, agentic bots, then you really need to monitor every conversation, and you can't do that manually. And you can't just track the conversation, because even if it is successful, maybe the bot did a lot of repetitions, turnarounds, and your customer was frustrated even if he or she was able to submit, for example, their meter reading. And in order to do this, what else to do? Use also AI, so we have devised a way of automatically, via a large language model, analyze transcripts, so we can identify dialogue issues like conversational breakdowns, sentiment analysis over the whole conversation, find out where customers were frustrated, also topic and intent classification, not only for what the customer says at the start, right? We all have these routing abilities where we at the start ask the customer what they want to do, but this might turn out to be very different from what they say at the start. And you can even do some prompt-based custom analysis. Maybe you have a special interest for a special case. You just devise a prompt that will do a specific analysis of your conversations. Very briefly, how does this work? So first you have to, of course, to export your conversations from your conversational AI platform. We have more than one at E.ON, so we do this in a technology agnostic way, put everything in a database in a form that is both very human readable and also very easy to understand for the large language models. And then we have a Python application actually that does all the mass analysis of the data, of the conversations, and then writes back the results. And then the analysts or the conversational designers like me can go and filter at the heart's content, look at specific conversations, and find some new insights. And if you do something like that, you should be able to flexibly put together your analyzer sets. You might have one that is continuously monitoring your conversations. You might have others for special needs. For example, if you want to look specifically into meter readings, maybe in all the ones that have a negative sentiment, and that might have conversation breakdowns. And what we were surprised by was that large language models are actually very good at detecting conversational breakdowns, so problems in the conversation where, for example, a response does not fit to the question, or where the question is not a natural continuation of of the conversation. Here are some easy examples from an NLU bot, because when you're using agentic AI, it gets more subtle. You need more context to understand why this is not working well. And I think if you look at this one, I don't have them. That's what this is all about. Are you serious? I don't have a contract yet. That doesn't answer my question. You immediately know there is something going on that's not good. And of course, we have the all-time classic. I think everybody of us already encountered this one, which is not very popular. I'm sorry, I didn't understand you. Okay, let me wrap up. Before I wrap up, let me do a little quiz with you. This is also a traditional bot, and there are three messages by customers that are all answered with the same response by the bot, and this response of the bot was flagged by the AI as problematic. So these are authentic ones, not imaginative, just translated from German. A red LED is lit on my meter equals standstill. I'm missing a meter reading request for meter reading. People really want to do their meter submissions. I'm not familiar with meter blah 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 blah. I do not own this meter. So what might the bot have responded with that is not, I'm sorry, I didn't understand you? Any ideas? Somebody wants to venture? Well, it was something more sinister in at least from the view of customers. It was, I can help you with the following topics related to your meter and meter reading. Meter reading card, meter replacement, submit meter reading, check meter reading, other topics. And this is somehow, so the bot somehow understood this is about meters and meter reading, right? He got that correctly, but the bot is not really able to help me. You can see from this offers, these won't be the ones that help me, and don't dare to click on other topics. It won't get you anywhere. It's just another round with the bot. So what is really important, and I'm fairly sure this will still be a problem with large language models and with agentic AI, that bots need to understand and to acknowledge very quickly what they are able to do and what they are not able to do, and to present alternatives. As the colleague from ING said, action is important. If the bot cannot take a specific action like repairing a meter, then it should say so, and it should quickly present an alternative solution. And what will happen with agentic bots, we will have a lot of circling around problem in some not so well designed agentic AIs. So let's do improv. It's great. It's really capable. We have a great time in front of us of much better conversations between our services and our customers. Customers will be helped quicker, but make also sure it's reliable. So step up your ops. Use Gen AI also for, sorry, slightly confused here. Step up your ops. Use Gen AI also for monitoring and testing. Actively manage your risk. Be aware of where you want to take risks, because flexibility is key there, and where you want to have deterministic processes, and combine both for the best of worlds by combining static and agentic parts in your application. Thank you.
Really like your story and the improv too. Okay, we have time for 2 quick questions, and just one thing. If you're going to leave this room, can you please do it as suddenly as possible, so we can actually have like a good place to ask questions and our speaker can answer. Yes.
Hello, here in the first line.
We have someone there.
Here. I'm Carla. I'm from Brazil. I would like to know if you can share some results regarding your agentic AI after that you improve it, of course, Did your success rate increase or decrease or stays the same?
The problem is we have large language models, we have RAG, but at the moment we are developing a pilot for agentic, for the meter reading, among other things. And this is part of the preparation for being sure that everything goes well. So sorry, I can't share any numbers.
And we have one more question.
So I constantly think when you go into production, how would you determine either you have to roll it back because if the failure rate is increased or the threshold you determine is below that, how would you determine you have to roll back the feature?
So if you do a conversational AI, you know that with every new feature or with every new bot, you have to be very careful. You have to roll them out, ideally only first to some of your customers, and then you have to very closely